The Galactic Accord had always believed Earth was a low-tier planet marked as Class 9, which meant wild, unstable, and unimportant. To most advanced species, Earth was just a blue rock spinning near a small star, barely worth a footnote. So when the Archean delegation was sent to confirm the old report, they expected dirt, chaos, and a few primitive machines. Commander Relith led the mission with boredom in his eyes and a checklist in hand. But the moment their ship entered Earth's orbit, things started to feel off. The planet's signals were far too organized: encrypted waves, layered frequencies, something watching back. No one on the ship could identify the source. Still, they followed protocol and landed in a quiet desert region, far from cities. Sand blew against their hull as they stepped out, scanning the area. But someone was already there, a single human, sitting calmly beside a fire, looking directly at them. No weapons. No panic. Just a quiet confidence. He smiled and said, "Took you long enough." The crew froze. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. Relith looked at the man and then back at the silent desert, suddenly unsure who was observing who. Earth wasn't what they thought it never was. The man introduced himself as Dr. Elias Ward, a field observer, though nothing about him felt ordinary. He wore a simple jacket, spoke with calm confidence, and looked each alien directly in the eye, like he had seen their kind before. Commander Relith tried to take control of the meeting, presenting authority, asking questions about Earth's development, but Elias answered with strange precision: too much knowledge, too much awareness. He knew about the Accord, the Archean homeworld, even their diplomatic failures with other species. It wasn't arrogance. It was like he had read their entire history. When Relith asked how he knew so much, Elias only smiled and said, "We've been listening for a while." That quiet statement made the crew shift nervously. Elias never raised his voice, never threatened, but the air around him felt heavy, like something invisible was watching through him. Later that night, while Relith's team reviewed Elias's strange data device, a black tablet with no interface, they found something odd: maps of planets far beyond Earth, coded reports in languages not of human origin. Before they could process it, one crew member vanished. No noise. No sign. Just gone. And in that silence, Elias only looked up and said, "He shouldn't have touched that." The next morning, Elias invited Commander Relith and his team to follow him, saying there was something they needed to see. With hesitation, they walked deep into the rocky hills until Elias stopped in front of what looked like a large boulder. He tapped twice, and the ground opened silently, revealing a hidden passage leading underground. As they descended, the walls turned smooth, lined with unfamiliar metal and soft white lights. Then the doors slid open into a vast chamber filled with screens, hundreds of them, each showing different alien worlds, ships, and languages the Archean barely recognized. "This is the observation room," Elias said, his voice calm as ever. "We've been monitoring the galaxy for a while now." Relith's heart sank. Earth was not behind, they were far ahead and had been hiding it. Elias moved across the room like he belonged there, pointing out recordings from secret Accord meetings, cloaked fleet movements, and even surveillance of planets the Accord believed were hidden. "We watched, we learned, and we waited," Elias added. Relith suddenly understood that this wasn't a planet of primitives. It was a planet that played silent while building its reach. And Elias wasn't just a human. He was something much more dangerous, a prepared one. That night, the Archean delegation decided to leave Earth quietly. Fear had replaced curiosity, and the observation room had revealed more than they were ready to face. Without alerting Elias, they returned to their ship and prepared for liftoff. But when the engines powered up, a silent pulse hit the ship. Everything went dark. No alarms, no resistance, just a soft shutdown like someone flipped a hidden switch. Relith tried manual controls, but even those were locked. Moments later, Elias walked toward them from the shadows, his hands behind his back, wearing the same calm expression. "I thought you might try to leave early," he said gently, stopping just outside the ramp. "But Earth doesn't like surprises." Relith stepped out and demanded answers, but Elias only smiled and introduced someone or something else. From behind a nearby dun came a quiet hum, and then a tall machine approached, covered in dark armor with glowing blue eyes. Meet a URA, Elias said. Adaptive Unseen Response Algorithm. She's our answer to alien threats. A URA had no weapons in sight, yet every Archean felt the weight of her presence. Elias explained that a URA was built using fragments of alien tech salvaged, decoded, and enhanced over years of quiet observation. She had studied every Accord protocol, intercepted thousands of encrypted messages, and trained herself to react faster than any known AI. Her only purpose was to protect Earth without revealing her hand. Releth realized in that moment that Earth had never been passive, it had been patient. Every peaceful signal, every ignored invitation, every moment of silence was part of a larger plan. Elias looked up at the stars and said, "You called us Class 9 because you saw our surface. But we were never playing your game. We were building our own." When the Archean delegation finally returned to their homeworld, their report was nothing like what the Galactic Accord had expected. The confident explorers who once laughed at the idea of Earth being anything more than a primitive world now sat in silence, faces pale, eyes haunted by what they had seen. Commander Relith submitted a full report, classified and sealed with the highest level of urgency. Earth, he wrote, could not be measured by the current classification scale. It was no longer Class 9. In fact, it may never have been. There was no agreement on what Earth should now be called. Some suggested Class 2 due to their advanced hidden technology. Others whispered the term Class 0, a level reserved for civilizations that do not follow the known rules of galactic behavior. Deep in the final pages of the report, one quote was highlighted, the last words Elias had said before they were allowed to leave. "We never needed permission to evolve. While you watched, we prepared, and when you judged, we learned. Now, you know we're watching back." Within weeks, quiet discussions spread across Accord councils. Monitoring probes were redirected toward Earth. Fleets were placed on alert, and some species even blocked travel to human space. But none of them dared to provoke contact. They knew now that Earth was not what it seemed. It was a silent player that had been listening longer than anyone thought. Hidden within their small blue planet was a force shaped not by fear, but by quiet control, deep strategy, and absolute patience. And far beyond the stars, on a lonely observation platform, Elias Ward watched the sky with a calm smile, knowing the galaxy had finally seen Earth clearly and would never forget what it had misjudged.